In our previous section, we discussed the issue of the Rothschilds and the banking stereotypes around anti-Semitic tropes. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the Jewish banker stereotype and where that comes from. There is some historical background for the Jewish banker, or what we see as the Jewish banker stereotype. One major issue, of course, was that Jewish people were banned from many jobs in, the Middle Ages. They were not allowed to go to certain schools, or only a certain amount could go. Many trades banned Jews from joining. Many jobs would not allow them to take the Friday night and Saturday off that was required by their religion. So they were oftentimes forced to work for themselves. That was the easiest and best way to get a job. The other thing that was in the Jewish people's favor is that Christians at that time were not allowed to lend money to other Christians, because the New Testament speaks very frequently in regards to Jesus speaking out against money changers and money lenders. For anyone who knows the New Testament, of course, there's the very famous scene where Jesus goes into the temple where he flips the tables of the money changers out of anger that people are lending or taking money at a certain interest rate. And many future Christian populations believe that it wasn't fair to lend money to other Christians. So what ended up happening, of course, is someone needed to fill that void. And oftentimes Jewish people who had very few other opportunities for work would tend to lend money to Christians because that was allowed. Of course, Christians wouldn't want to lend money at no interest to other Christians, which is sort of what the other option would be, because that really isn't a very good business move. One very predominant and very successful family, as I mentioned earlier, was the Rothschild family. This was a family who lived in Europe. They became very successful in banking, and then, of course, as their children grew up, those children actually spread out and went to different countries around Europe, and each opened their own branch. And the amazing thing is, this would allowed for not only international trade, it allowed for money exchanges from people from different countries, because one brother would be able to send money back to his other brother and exchange the rate for different currencies. So this became a very successful family, and they have gained a lot of notoriety in negative circles. They tend to be the center of anti-Semitic beliefs. They tend to be the center of this Protocols of Elders of Zion cabal idea that they control the entire world. There has also been some suggestion, of course, that due to their role in banking and funding things like the Napoleonic Wars, or funding World War I, for funding World War II for governments who were desperate for money and needed loans, that, of course, the Rothschild family are secretly waging wars against people and causing all of these conflicts. So it's interesting when you look at the depictions of anti-Semitic bankers, they tend to bring in this Rothschild family because unfortunately they've become sort of the poster children or the poster people of this Jewish banker and Jewish cabal and Jewish people controlling all of business and banking and world conflicts. I think Jon Stewart was right when he had mentioned that these issues of anti-Semitism that are found in Hollywood tend to be overlooked and not really recognized. And it's a really big shame that these groups of hundreds of people making these films, that not one of them seems to maybe see how these anti-Semitic tropes are not only involved in their filmmaking, but also how they are continuing these beliefs by creating these characters in their films. I definitely will also agree with Jon Stewart that J.K. Rowling herself has never suggested that these characters were Jewish stereotypes. I would even go as far to say that Chris Columbus and other people who worked on the film, the costumes and makeup and all of that, also were unaware of how these characters may be touching on anti-Semitic tropes. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the Jewish Diaspora Report. I hope you will like, subscribe, follow us on social media at jdr.podcast on Instagram. We'll see you next time.